Hi, in this video we're going to look at actually updating some of these plugins and themes and core WordPress files. So as we mentioned before, when we get to our blog list, we have I ran a refresh on it earlier, around the refresh updates information, and we can now see what the state of our blogs are. And I can see that some of these are up to date, some of these are in trouble, and some of those need updating. Now, you can do updates basically from individual pieces right up to basically update everything. And all the options for that are in here. So you can see you can either update all the plugins, you can update all the themes, you can update to all the latest versions of WordPress, or you can update everything, which means update all of the above three. You've also got the option to update individually by clicking the traffic lights. So in this particular case, I can see that we've got some plugin updates need doing here. And I will just click that yellow and it will go off and effectively update that for me. As you can see, it now opens the tab and it's found one plugin needs updating. And it now goes off, updates that plugin. And as you can see, it's all been completed. All updates have been completed. So it does it in that tab. And I can go back to the program itself. No further actions in the queue, so we know that's finished now. And basically, that's now turned green. So what it's done, and this is how it works, no matter what updates you're doing, it will, regardless of the color of your traffic lights, it will actually go out first and check to see whether it needs updates doing or not. So even if it says it's green and maybe there's still an update to be done or a new update's come in, it won't matter, it'll still go off and check for that. It will do the update, and then once the update's complete, it will go back and check it again to make sure the updates have been done or to make sure that refresh process hasn't found more updates. But either way, you'll get a set of traffic lights back to tell you again what the state of play is with that particular blog. Okay, let's look at some other ways we can update. So let's just pick a couple of these. Let's have that one and that one, I think. And this time we're going to go to our drop-down box. And as we said before, we can update everything. We can update just the WordPress blog versions, all the themes, or all the plugins. So let's do all the themes, I think. And if we do this one now, what should happen is it will take the first one and update that one, and then take the second one and update that one. So at the moment it's updating Green Power Easy, that's in progress, and that's the Green Power Easy we selected. And if we look up here at the tab, we can see what's going on. It's updating these themes. It's got 4 themes to be updated, and we can actually watch the process as it happens. So you see that all these updates are done in sequence, so one after the other. So it won't, no matter how many updates you've got to do, it's not going to bring your blogs down or bring your server down with an overload. It will do one blog, finish it off, and then move on to the next one. So it keeps the load on your server nice and light. Even if you've got 30, 50, or 60 blogs on one server, it's not going to give you a heavy server load. You'll see now the second one's in progress. And again, we can go and check the tab if we want, and we can actually see the process going on. So again, if you get any issues with the process, you can actually look at the tabs and see exactly what's going on, because all this activity goes on the actual blog. So although we have a master controller here, this is only passing the jobs out, if you like, to the remote blogs. So everything's distributed. This one site won't be banded down because it's not doing a lot of work. It's simply passing the jobs out. Jobs are being done on the site, and we can actually go and see what's going on. And I'll say if we had any errors here or updates that weren't happening, we could actually see what the problem is. In this case, it's updated everything fine, and there we are. I've got our green box and our green box again. Okay, this time we're going to select a couple more. Let's just select these 2 here, and we're going to do the update everything. Just let it run through a whole process so you can see what happens. So we'll update the WordPress version itself first, and if you're doing updates, that's something I recommend you do. Always worth updating the WordPress main core files first before doing the plugin update or the theme updates, because sometimes themes and plugins are updated to suit the newer versions. And also, if you've got a older version or a much older version, then it may be that it needs updating first before you update anything else. So you can see now this has opened the tab up and it's doing the WordPress core update, updating in this case to 3.9.1. And there we are, that's all done. And if we go back to our main program, you'll see that it's recognized it's done. It says the update's complete. Everything in the database has been updated, and it goes on and moves to check the next one. And that's in progress, and you'll see back up the tab is working again, so we can go and have a look over there, and we'll see that's now updating the WordPress core files in that one. So we can go back and wait until that's finished. We only need to watch it in here. We don't have to keep going into the tab, of course, but I say it's useful, especially when you're first starting using this. You get a kind of feel for the program, and you can actually see that it's actually doing stuff. You can see what's going on in there, and keeps you comfortable that everything's being done correctly. But this will plow through now and start updating everything else. You see the WordPress latest version update is completed, and it moves on to updating the plugins. Again, the plugins are in progress, and you'll see the activity on the tab here, the plugins being updated. See them all being updated one after the other. And when completed, it will move on to the next one. And of course, this all happens without any interaction at all. So once you set this going, you could set up as many of these as you like, and go away and have a cup of coffee while it does all the updates for you, and it'll come back and obviously give you the information about what's happened when it's finished. And when that completes, you will see that all the traffic lights go green and everything is up to date. As I said, if this is the first time you're going through, or you've got a lot of updates to do, I wouldn't recommend you just select everything and click update all. You need to go through a kind of process of updating. Like I say, update the WordPress themes first. Update the WordPress core files first, then update your plugins, then update your themes. Remember, of course, any updates, especially if you've left them a long time, can break the blog, so you need to be aware of the situation. So don't just put the machine on and allow it to update everything all in one go if it's the first time you're going through. Once you've gone through and everything's up to date and everything's green, then of course as the updates happen and you refresh them regularly, everything will be absolutely fine, and everything will keep on top of it. Also note that if your WordPress files are very old, as I say, currently this is 3.9, I think 4.0 will be out very soon. If yours is back at something like 3.3 or worse, 2 point something, then of course you may have to manually update those initially to catch up with the plugins, because of course, although the plugins work and we keep them up to date going forward, we can't guarantee that very, very old systems can manage the plugins. Okay, well that's basically covers updating. Remember, when we do updates here specifically for plugins, we will actually update all the plugins. Now, there may be cases when you don't want to update all plugins. For instance, you've got a specific plugin that you know the new version of has a known problem, or for whatever reason you have an old version or a modified version that you do not want to update. Then you can stop those updating. And we can do this by using the protect plugins and the unprotect plugins. And the way that works is we can select a plugin. We need to have the plugin in the library. Like I said, that gives us the management. So let's just take an example here where I will purposely install a couple of plugins that I know are out of date. Plugin is already installed there. And because it's up to date, it must be the newer version. Now to demo this, I want to put the old version in there. So we can do that simply by deactivating those two plugins. If we just check the tab, we see what's going on. There we go. Look, it's selected those two plugins for deactivation. and selected plugins have been deactivated, and I can then delete those two plugins, exact same two. Okay, and if I go back and check that tab again, you should be able to see it delete the plugins. And there we are, it selected those two plugins. And the selected plugins have been deleted. So now I've taken them out, that's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install these two versions, which are old versions. So we should put it out of date. So let's mass install that again. Let's check it this time. And sure enough, there we are. Plugin has been installed successfully. And the second plugin has been installed successfully as well. So now we've got two plugins in there that are out of date. So let me just refresh that a moment. And that's updated. We should now see, sure enough, our plugins are not up to date. But if, for instance, I only wanted to update one of them, so let's say I don't want to update the word fence plugin. So let me select the word fence plugin and click Protect Plugins. And you'll now see that turns red, and that's now a protected plugin. I don't need to leave it selected. It's just as long as it's red, it's a protected plugin, and I can unprotect it in the same way by selecting and clicking unprotect. But now what will happen is it will know that I do not want to update a word fence plugin. So if I now do the updates on here, and I'll just click the single traffic light here so you can just see what's going on, and let's just open up the tab as well so you can see it's actually going on in the tab. And there we are, it's doing the updates, but the donation thermometer is ticked, but the word fence security isn't. So although it was ready for updates, it hasn't done the updates on it. In fact, if we go down here, it's updated the donation thermometer. And if we go back here, we should get a message. And we'll see that the plugin is still yellow, because we've forced it not to update with the word fence plugin. So that's how we can actually protect against updating specific plugins that we don't want to update. So in general, it updates everything, but if you want to omit some plugins, then you can put them in the protected list. But I say if you unprotect them, and that one's back now, and then I can update once more. And all plugins on that blog are looking at being updated. It's now in progress. You can see the tab running. If we look at the tab now, we just saw that there quickly. The word fence security was being updated. In fact, now it is, and it's been done. And this time, when it detects that's been finished, it'll refresh automatically for us, and we can see that they're all green once again. And that covers off updating and upgrading.